Game one between the Raptors and Cavs, complete dominance from Cleveland. Early fourth here, off the break, pass to Donovan Mitchell. Pump fakes and throws down the slam. Next, Cleveland, possession, Mitchell driving. Layup is no good, so he just gets his own rebound, lays it home, and the Cavaliers go on to win it 126-113 from Cleveland. For much more on this game one, let's go ahead and welcome in our own John Gonzalez. John, let's go ahead and start with the Cavs, who get it done in dominant fashion behind Donovan Mitchell. This was his 9th straight game one with more than 30 points. That extends his NBA record, making it the longest streak in playoff history. What impressed you most about his performance?
Yeah, he always shows up to start a series, right? I mean, Donovan Mitchell was fantastic tonight, goes for 32 points. The Raptors really had no answer for him, which is a little surprising because the Raptors are a pretty good defensive team. They were 5th in defensive rating this season. And the Cavs are sort of the inverse. They're not a very good defensive team, but they are an excellent offensive team, and they were at home. Now, the question for the Cavs was really, what's this lineup look like? They haven't had a ton of time together. They played 41 different lineups this season. 5 other teams have done that, and none of those are playoff teams. So they're a little unsure about what they were going to get from this unit, and they really needed Donovan Mitchell to step up, and he absolutely did, as did James Harden and Evan Mobley. And then Jarrett Allen, who has been dealing with a knee injury, he goes for 27 minutes. So I think if you're Kenny Atkinson and you look at this first game, you're thinking, all right, pretty close between us and the Raptors. They didn't beat the Raptors, Jordan, all season during the regular season, and then they come out and just absolutely maul them in game one. You're feeling pretty good about it.
You brought up the questions surrounding this Cavaliers team as a whole heading into the playoffs and what others were saying, but what were your takeaways from this team's performance as a whole?
Yeah, if I'm the Cavs, I mean, look, at the trade deadline, they went and decided to shake things up, right? Because they come into this season with aspirations of definitely improving on what happened last year. Last year, they're at the top of the Eastern Conference all season during the regular season. Then they go into the playoffs and they get bounced in the second round by those plucky Indiana Pacers, right? Well, that's not where they wanted to be. And then they come in this year and they're thinking, all right, now they thought the Celtics were going to take a step back. Indiana is off the board because of what happened with Tyrese Halliburton's Achilles. And they thought they were just going to run through the Eastern Conference. That wasn't the case either. They got off to a slow start, but they still have aspirations of making the Eastern Conference Finals or beyond. So this is one of those teams that really needs to make a deep run in the postseason. Otherwise, there could be off-season changes. But you got to start somewhere, and today was a good start by handling the Raptors. Again, a team that they had not beat during the regular season, but beat really easily today.
What is going on, everyone? Welcome back. Today we are talking about the Cleveland Cavaliers, and they made a statement in Game 1. Complete dominance. The Cavs blew out the Toronto Raptors 126-113. Donovan Mitchell was spectacular. He scored 32 points. This was his 9th straight Game 1 with more than 30 points, extending his NBA record. The analysts are already saying the Cavs are going to the NBA Finals. Let me break it down. The game was never close. Donovan Mitchell was fantastic. The Raptors really had no answer for him, which is a little surprising because the Raptors are a pretty good defensive team. They were 5th in defensive rating this season. The Cavs are sort of the inverse. They are not a very good defensive team, but they are an excellent offensive team, and they were at home. The question for the Cavs was really, what does this lineup look like? They have not had a ton of time together. They played 41 different lineups this season. 5 other teams have done that, and none of those are playoff teams. So, they were a little unsure about what they were going to get from this unit. They really needed Donovan Mitchell to step up, and he absolutely did, as did James Harden and Evan Mobley. And Jarrett Allen, who has been dealing with a knee injury, went for 27 minutes. So, if you are Kenny Atkinson, and you look at this first game, you are thinking, all right, pretty close between us and the Raptors. They did not beat the Raptors all season during the regular season. And then they come out and just absolutely maul them in Game 1. You are feeling pretty good about it. The analyst, John Gonzalez, pointed out that if he is the Cavs, look, they at the trade deadline went and decided to shake things up. They came into this season with aspirations of definitely improving on what happened last year. Last year, they were at the top of the Eastern Conference all season during the regular season. And then they go into the playoffs and they get bounced in the second round by those plucky Indiana Pacers. That is not where they wanted to be. And then they come in this year and they are thinking, all right. They thought the Celtics were going to take a step back. Indiana is off the board because of what happened with Tyrese Halliburton's Achilles. and they thought that they were just going to run through the Eastern Conference. That was not the case either. They got off to a slow start, but they still have aspirations of making the Eastern Conference Finals or beyond. So, this is one of those teams that really needs to make a deep run in the postseason. Otherwise, there could be off-season changes. But you got to start somewhere, and today was a good start by handling the Raptors. Again, a team that they had not beat during the regular season, but beat really easily today. The host then asked what the Raptors need to do to bounce back in Game 2 and attempt to contain Mitchell. Gonzalez said not only no answer for Donovan Mitchell, but really no answer offensively. So, you got to figure out a way to slow that guy down. Now, that is easier said than done, especially when he has James Harden in the backcourt with him. And those two are a 1-2 punch that is awfully difficult to deal with. That is the reason why the Cavaliers went and made that trade at the deadline where they ended up getting older by trading 26-year-old Darius Garland for 36-year-old James Harden. But they figured that was a net win because they are trying to win now. And certainly, it was in this game. But then offensively, the Raptors got to figure something out here. Scotty Barnes had a pretty good game offensively, and RJ Barrett went for 24 points. They did not have Immanuel Quickley, which does not help. But the thing that he is looking at here, and the guy that he is singling out, is Brandon Ingram. Because if Scotty Barnes is your best player, Brandon Ingram is supposed to be the 1A. Or you could reverse that and make Brandon Ingram your 1 and Scotty Barnes your 1A. But only one of those guys came to show up today. Brandon Ingram goes for 17 points. He only took 9 shots. He was 0 for 1 from deep. He was 7 for 10 from the line. That is not good enough. If you are Brandon Ingram, you come into this team and you are looking to be a leader and one of the best players on the Raptors, a Raptors team that is grossly overpaid for a 5 seed, you got to show up and do more than just shoot 9 shots and score 17 points. The Raptors have now lost 11 straight playoff games against Cleveland. The host then asked Gonzalez how much faith he has in this Cavs team to make a pretty deep run. Gonzalez said not much because he has them winning this series, but he does not have them advancing past the second round where they would ostensibly face the Detroit Pistons, who have been at the top of the Eastern Conference all season long. And that is a problem for the Cavs. Because as they mentioned, they really do need to make a deep run. He thinks it is Eastern Conference Finals at a minimum. Otherwise, you are looking at a really difficult offseason where all of a sudden, Donovan Mitchell the season after next is going to be a free agent. Do they all of a sudden unplug, say, Evan Mobley, maybe make a run at a Giannis Antetokounmpo? Could Kenny Atkinson's job be in danger? Might they shuffle the deck even further? They have already shown a propensity to do it, right? At the trade deadline where they go and acquire James Harden, and they pick up Dennis Schroeder and Keon Ellis. This is a team that has decided, hey, we were not good enough before the deadline. We tinkered. Now, all of a sudden, if they do not get out of the second round at least and get to the Eastern Conference Finals, it would not surprise him if they tinker a little bit more. The crew then discussed the absence of Immanuel Quickley for the Raptors. Scotty Barnes getting into early foul trouble really created a dilemma for Darko Rajakovic in terms of utilizing him as a primary ball handler when Schroeder was not on the floor. Having said that, the analyst mentioned what Immanuel Quickley brings offensively is the ability to score the basketball and help them from the three-point line. The Raptors were very good from the three-point line. They were able to score. The question is the other side of the basketball. And does Immanuel Quickley make that difference on that side of the ball? You could argue not necessarily, but collectively having your full roster and having your rotation intact is going to help. So, you hope Quickley can come back and help this team. But they were all kind of surprised when they saw Jamal's head starting because that really changes the dynamic of what you bring off the bench and how you approach the start of the game. So, they will see if that might be an adjustment that Darko might go to in Game 2 to see if he wants to consistently stay with Jamal's head if Immanuel Quickley is not in the lineup. The on-site reporters then discussed James Harden's performance. He had 22 points and 10 assists. 86 points were generated through James Harden and Donovan Mitchell. One reporter said that since Harden has come to Cleveland, he has been averaging big numbers. He has done it throughout the course of his Hall of Fame career, and he got it done here. Everybody for the last 17 years has talked about, hey, speed him up. That is extremely difficult. This game was played at his pace. The other reporter said why. OU are definitely not going to speed someone up after 17 years. James Harden can do everything on the offensive side. He shoots every type of defense. They have seen defenses of people trying to stand behind him so he could not do the step back and force him to go downhill and try to create fouls. Rules have been changed because of James Harden, how he generates fouls and gets to the free throw line. So, he really knows how to manipulate the game. He has been doing it for 17 years. So, you are not going to pick one defense that is going to shut him down. You have to switch defenses up. Others have to step in. And again, he has been saying it all night. He sounds like a broken record. You have to attack James Harden on the other end. You cannot let him relax. You cannot allow him to just stay disengaged within the game. You have to seek out matchups. You have to push it at him, whether it is a post-up, whether it is isolation. You have to make him work on the other side of the floor. They also discussed Max Strus. During the course of the regular season, because of a left foot injury, Max Strus played all of 12 games. This is game number 13 for him. And when you have Harden delivering, you have to have somebody that is making shots around him to get 10 assists. And he was certainly key. He had a career high in the postseason with 24 points. You are so concerned about that three-point shot. Yes, he made 4, but his ability to put it on the deck and then also deliver on the inside. He finished 8 for 10 from the field. That stint in the third quarter, he really exploded, knocking the shots out, scoring 8 points. So, it is all that cutting and then that ability to knock down the three. Finally, they discussed Scottie Barnes. He got decent numbers. The first half really was interrupted by those 2 fouls. Not only was he sitting, Darko did a nice job keeping him with 2 till halftime, but it is hard to play aggressive in your Scottie Barnes basketball. So, where do we sit when we said, is he ready for his close-up? The analyst said you do not want to just judge him on the one game, obviously. But he thinks Scottie got off to a great start. He shot the ball well. He thinks he has another gear for Game 2. So here is my question to you in the comments. Can the Cavs make it to the NBA Finals? And what do the Raptors need to change to bounce back in Game 2? Let me know. I read every single comment. As always, like, subscribe, hit that bell. We are building something special here. I will see you in the next one.